Imagine burying a gun in the woods 2 years before you ever plan to use it. Imagine selecting a victim, not because of who they are, but simply because they were there. Most serial killers leave a trail, a pattern, a signature. But Isreal Keyes left nothing but holes in the ground. He called them kill kits. Caches of weapons and tools buried across America, waiting for him to return. He traveled thousands of miles. He struck at random. He believed he was invisible. And for over a decade, he was. But in 2012, he made one mistake. He targeted an 18-year-old barista in Alaska. And that decision would unravel a web of secrets so dark that even after his death, we still don't know how many people he truly killed. This is the Isreal Keyes case, and the terrifying possibility that his work isn't finished.
Welcome back. In true crime, we look for patterns to make sense of the senseless. We want to believe that if we avoid certain places or certain people, we can stay safe. But Isreal Keyes dismantled that comfort. Keyes wasn't just a murderer. He was a planner. He treated killing like a logistical operation. He robbed banks not for wealth, but for travel money. He buried weapons not for protection, but for future crimes. Today, we are diving deep into this case. But we need to be clear about something. This isn't a story about celebrating a killer's methodology. This is a story about the victims. Samantha Koenig, Bill and Lorraine Currier, and others whose names we may never know. We're going to look at the facts, the evidence, and the unanswered questions that still haunt the FBI. Stick around until the end, because the theory surrounding the 11 skulls Keyes drew in his own blood is something you need to hear. Let's begin with the method that made him invisible.
To understand the threat Keyes posed, you have to understand the kill kit. Between 2001 and 2011, Keyes traveled across America. But he wasn't sightseeing. He was staging a battlefield. He would find remote locations, woods far from trails, farmland away from houses. He would bury a waterproof container. Inside, a handgun, ammunition, zip ties, duct tape, knives, and sometimes materials to dispose of a body. Then, he would leave. He might not return to that specific spot for years. The kit would wait, buried in the dirt, silent and ready.
Think about the implications for investigators. When police find a body, they look for connections. Did the killer know the victim? Was the weapon bought locally? Was there a relationship? Keyes bypassed all of that.
When Keyes decided to kill, he would fly to a state, rent a car, and drive to the pre-buried location. He would dig up the kit. The gun wasn't traced to him. The location wasn't linked to his home address. He was a ghost. To fund these travels, Keyes robbed banks. Not for the money itself, but for the travel budget. He stole just enough to buy plane tickets and rent cars. He didn't want wealth. He wanted mobility. This level of planning suggests a psychopathy that is rare even among serial killers. He didn't kill out of rage. He killed out of compulsion. And he treated it like a job. But in 2012, his system began to crack. He traveled to Anchorage, Alaska. He had a kit buried nearby. And he was looking for an opportunity. He found one in a coffee shop. Her name was Samantha Koenig. Samantha Koenig was 18 years old. She was working at a coffee shop in Anchorage. She loved the outdoors. She had her whole life ahead of her. On March 2nd, 2012, she vanished. Surveillance footage captured Keyes approaching her. It was the last time she was seen alive. He abducted her, took her to a remote location, and used the contents of his kill kit to restrain her.
What happened next is some of the most chilling evidence in modern true crime history. Keyes didn't just hide Samantha. He used her to manipulate the investigation.
After murdering her, Keyes used her webcam to send photos to her family. He made it look like she was still alive. He demanded a ransom. He was playing a game with the police and her grieving father, Chuck Koenig. Chuck Koenig paid. He hoped against hope that his daughter would return. But Keyes had no intention of letting her go. The ransom was not for money. It was for time. Time to escape. Samantha's body was eventually found in Lake Iliamna, weighted down with concrete. She had been murdered days after her abduction. The ransom money was found in Keyes' possession when he was arrested. Samantha was not his only confirmed victim. Months earlier, in Vermont, Keyes had targeted Bill and Lorraine Currier. They were an elderly couple, in their 70s. He abducted them from their home. He drove them to an abandoned farmhouse miles away. There, using another buried kit, he murdered them. He later confessed to digging their graves himself.
The randomness is what terrifies investigators. Samantha was young. The Couriers were elderly. Deborah Feldman, a probable victim in New York, was a woman in her 40s. Keyes didn't have a type. He had a method.
There is also strong evidence linking him to the disappearance of Deborah Feldman in 2009. Her body has never been found. Keyes' travel records placed him in her area at the time of her disappearance. These families deserved justice. They deserved answers. But Keyes was about to ensure that some answers would remain buried forever. It was a rental car that brought him down. After abducting Samantha, Keyes flew back to Washington. But he kept the rental car. He drove it across state lines. The FBI tracked the vehicle. They located Keyes in Washington state. When agents approached his rental car, he didn't surrender peacefully. He reached for a weapon. He was shot by an agent, survived, and was taken into custody. In custody, Keyes was cooperative. Too cooperative. He began to confess. He led investigators to Samantha's body. He told them about the Couriers. He showed them where some of the kits were buried. But he was also manipulative. He withheld information. He bargained with the FBI, offering details in exchange for comforts. He enjoyed the power he still held, even from behind bars.
On December 2, 2012, Isreal Keyes was found dead in his cell at the Anchorage Correctional Complex. He had committed suicide. He used a razor blade hidden in a pen to take his own life. He knew the death penalty was coming. He knew he would never walk free. So he chose the exit. And with that exit, he sealed the lips of the only person who knew the full extent of his crimes.
The families of the victims were left with closure on some fronts, but eternal questions on others. Did he kill more? Where are the other bodies? And perhaps most disturbingly, are there still kits buried in the ground, waiting for someone to find them? During his confinement, Keyes drew images, sketches of skulls. He drew 11 of them. He hinted to investigators that there were 11 victims. Only 3 are confirmed. Samantha Koenig, Bill and Lorraine Courier. Deborah Feldman is highly probable. That leaves 7 unaccounted for. Keyes traveled extensively. He visited national parks, remote areas in Wyoming, Texas, Washington. He told investigators that some kits were never recovered.
Imagine being a hiker. You're walking through the woods, and your shovel hits metal. You dig it up. You find a gun, zip ties, a mask. You've just found a ghost from a dead man's past.
The FBI continued to search for caches after Keyes' death. They recovered some, but they admit they may never find them all. The landscape is vast. The secrets are deep. For Chuck Koenig, Samantha's father, the fight didn't end with Keyes' death. He became an advocate for victims' rights. He wrote a book. He ensured his daughter's name was never forgotten. The detail that doesn't make sense is why stop? Keyes was careful. He was methodical. He could have continued for years. Did he slip up? Or did he simply decide to stop before he was caught? We may never know. The killer is dead, but the mystery remains buried in the earth.
So this is the problem.
Just cold and calculating to the core. And so here's what the FBI is trying to do to find out who may have been his victims so they can help families, people who knew these folks, get justice. Agents tracked down all of his known locations from 1997 to 2012. Our producers right there pulled up 2008. Look at what he's got going on there. A car rental in Alabama, purchases in Louisiana, a flight out of Dallas, a ferry in Oklahoma, more car rentals in Michigan and Washington State. All of this happening between December 2007, February 2008. So here's what they're doing. They're having people look at that website and say, if you know somebody you loved may have disappeared in that area, or you're wondering about someone in that area, call us so we can follow up on the lead. Now, this guy Keyes also left murder kits in locations all over the country. They had weapons in them and cash from bank robberies that he committed, ammunition, silencers. Police say Keyes, again, cold, calculating murderer who traveled all over the country to help hunt down his victims. So the FBI, again, asking for your help, asking you to contact local police if you have any information to help identify Keyes' victims. You can go, by the way, to hlntv.com for more information.
Isreal Keyes represents a specific kind of terror, the terror of randomness. He reminds us that danger doesn't always look for a specific type. Sometimes it's just waiting. These stories aren't just about the monsters. They are about the victims who were taken too soon. Samantha, Bill, Lorraine, Deborah. Their names matter more than his. I want to hear from you. Do you believe Keyes had more victims than the ones confirmed? Do you think there are still caches buried out there? Comments below. Let's keep the discussion alive. If you have any information regarding unsolved disappearances that might link to Isreal Keyes' travel history, please contact the FBI. Tips can be anonymous. You could help bring closure to another family. Subscribe for more true crime documentaries. We shine a light on the shadows so the victims aren't forgotten.
Isreal Keyes is gone. But the questions he left behind are still buried.